This episode of the Patriots Postgame Show is presented by DraftKings.
This is the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings.
First down,
touchdown.
Dive to the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots.
Join the conversation by calling into the TPX hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at podcast@patriots.com.
Hand off to Stevenson. Runs left big hole across the 40. Cuts left at the 45. And steamrolls the defender there.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Matt Smith.
And we welcome you inside Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, where the Patriots have just finished off losing to the Miami Dolphins by a score of 34 to 15 in a game that probably wasn't as close as the score indicated. We do want to hear from you. You can email us at the TPX hotline or you can call us on the TPX hotline at 855-PATS-500, and please email us at podcast@patriots.com. Paul, give me a little instant analysis of this one, please.
Yeah, just really a non-competitive game. It wasn't really competitive after the Patriots' second drive of the day, and then all the penalties started to come. A flurry of those kind of short-circuited you, and from that time when Tua took the ball for his second drive of the game, you were never competitive. Defensively, it was an avalanche.
Yep. Michael?
Yeah, I just echo what Paul said. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to break down. I mean, I thought that second quarter, all of a sudden, it was just the Miami offense that I thought we were going to see today, which was not chunk plays, but just seemed like 10 yards, 10 yards,
in rhythm.
10 yards, run, pass. They kind of had their way with the Patriots defenses. I was worried that they might, and they did exactly what I thought they might.
And yet we will break it down, Mike. We will break it down in all aspects of it. I think this was a step back today. Is that a fair statement to make?
100%. 100%. I mean, that's what they said a couple weeks ago with Alex Van Pelt. Felt like they had a couple steps back 2 weeks ago. Last week they felt like they took a step forward, and now so you're in the cliche right now. I don't know if it's even 2 steps forward. It's a step forward, a step back, a step, it's hard to really track the progress.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. It's, we keep talking about the penalties and the self-inflicted wounds. And listen, when you're chasing and you're dealing with a more talented team, you're going to get some penalties, but the false starts just won't stop. There's like 4 of them in the in the early part of the game. Your pass protection's an issue. I know a lot of people felt like the whole, well, we get the same 5 guys out there. This isn't their fault. I'm going to, for 8th, 9th, 10th week in a row, I'm not going to put this on the individuals that are out there playing. They just don't have enough. They don't have enough talent to deal with these teams on a week-to-week basis, and this was a total dominating effort by a 4-6 Miami team. By the way, it's not, you didn't get dominated by the Lions, who are running roughshod over the league. So there's a long way to go.
And we got to bring it up because the penalties, I think, are the number one storyline of the game. But the quarterback definitely took a step back today. He did not play well.
No, and it's unfortunate, and again, I don't want to make too big a deal of the turnovers. I feel like at that point you're kind of gunning it, but we did talk about it at the beginning that those are something he's got to clean up. That was a big part of it. I just thought, I agree with you guys. Overall, he wasn't sharp today, and was never really able to get that rhythm. Other than that second drive, they overcame some penalties. They showed a little bit there, but that was really the only meaningful drive when the game was still competitive.
And I don't want to beat a dead horse here, Mike, but we talked about this. When the game was still sort of, there's an argument to be made at 14-0 that the game was over, but there were times in the first half where the score was still in reach, and there was a couple of throws that Drake had that just, it was the, what are those kind of throws?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I'm talking about the turnovers. Yeah, maybe he's trying to make a play. I don't like holding the ball out at one point in time where he got it knocked out of his hands.
Yep.
We talked about there was a quarterback many moons ago in Miami who suffered a similar fate in his first game in Miami. He seemed to do okay and bounce back from that, but it's just it was not great play out of him today, and it sort of followed the whole script with the way the team played.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. To me,
I got to chime in with a red zone.
Yes, please.
The the Commanders just hit a bomb to Terry McLaurin with like under 30 seconds left, like 80-yard touchdown to potentially tie the Cowboys game.
Red zone, Paul?
This is unbelievable.
Kind of looks like Jaden Daniels is dancing to Paul's song here, like jumping up and down.
Looks like we're on our own. He's watching the plays from some other games. That's when this show gets really lame, and that's how you know Paul's watching the red zone.
I mean,
Who can we thank for that, Matt? I'm sure that this has been discussed in a prior administration, but who do we?
Many moons.
You don't want to ask.
Why?
Hardy.
Oh, he did it. Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean,
one more thing that he's better than I am at.
Can I be forgiven? You know, I'm taking the red zone in a little bit, and he missed the extra point. He missed the extra point.
Oops.
Dallas is going to survive. Holy smokes.
Oh man.
So I mean,
cruel game.
You just look around the league. It's 27-27 Minnesota, Chicago heading to overtime. This should have been 27-27 here. It's 27-26. The Kansas City Chiefs just kicked a walk-off field goal to go 30-27. Tennessee comes away out of Houston with a 32-27 win, and the Patriots 34-15, a game that was never competitive from the second quarter on.
And that's Paul's trip around the league.
No, but seriously, like every one of these games is not only close, but you know, there's points on the board on both sides. It's back and forth. And we can't have nice things, Mike.
No. Well, that's part of the discouragement as far as today is concerned, is you would have liked to have seen a better effort. And so with that, Matt, let's hit the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Now it's time for the good.
Pretty good.
It was mostly ugly.
Pretty good.
The bad.
Hey, what happened?
And the injured.
You all right, guy?
All right, time now for the good, the bad, and the injured. Does anybody want to step up and put somebody in their good category? Mike, I'm looking at you first.
Oh, a good person.
Not be a good person, but did he play well?
You know, I don't really have anybody to highlight here, to be honest. I mean, a couple plays that I liked. I mean, even Barmore's sack I felt like was a little bit late in the down and felt kind of like it was a coverage sack, not so much him winning. So, yeah, I mean, Gonzalez had a nice pick up and run.
So I'll save you, Mike. I would just say
Austin Hooper.
I would just say that I had individual plays.
Same.
I didn't have anything in two of them that you just mentioned. Barmore's sack and Gonzalez had one pass defense and an otherwise not good day for him.
And to be fair, there were two decent Drake May plays. The touchdown play, I think people will say, okay.
He's not on the list.
But there was a 3rd and 9 play where he hit Kendrick Bourne, where he moved outside a little bit and he hit Bourne. I just want to make sure, in the interest of being fair.
Yeah,
Paul.
but we don't, like I had Antonio Gibson, you know, for the couple of little runs that he gave him. Oh, Dallas is going to return the onside kick for a touchdown. That game is Icky Baluki, as they like to say.
Dale. Thanks, Dale.
So I would just say that was a bad play by the Dallas guy for running it back, but you know, it's neither here nor there. Now the game is still going, just so you know. They're only up 8 now.
All right.
Right?
Amos Alonzo Staggs actually standing there going, why'd they run it back, too? Questioning the special teams coach. Anyway, please continue with Antonio Gibson.
But I'm being serious. Like, that's a bad play by the guy for Dallas.
Yes.
You catch the ball and fall down, the game's over.
Right.
Now you're going to be up 8, and Washington's going to get the ball back with 14 seconds
that
left.
guy can throw it down the field.
He just threw one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had Antonio Gibson early in the game. I thought he made a couple of plays. I think he will, you know, Mike said the second drive they overcame the penalty. I think they had a holding call on the first drive, and he picked up like 14 yards on 2nd and 16, I think, which allowed an easy 3rd down conversion. But I wouldn't put him on, you know, I don't think he had a particularly good game. I think he made a couple of good plays, but he didn't make any bad ones. And I thought Christian Ellis had really good coverage on Devon Achane, you know, on an underthrown ball in the end zone, but he made a nice play to come and break up the pass and prevent a touchdown. But I don't have anybody on my good list, not a single person.
Okay.
Maybe Austin Hooper.
Yeah.
But even then, like the play was, you know.
Busted plays.
Yeah.
Okay, that leads us to, if there's not a lot of good, does that mean there's a lot of bad?
I think there is, and per the request of some of the fans last week, try to stay specific and not put everybody under a banner.
Okay. I didn't hear that. I didn't get that request. I don't do requests,
Or was
by
that
the way.
during maybe that was PU. But no, I don't want to minimize it. I think I'm going to start with just Vidarian Lowe. First third down of the game, false start. I just thought that set a tone immediately. It's 3rd and 3. It's manageable.
Yep.
Goes from 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 8. That was just the start of his roughest day. We've been talking about getting him back, getting him healthy. He's the best option you have at left tackle, and I think as we're seeing today, it's limited even at that. So I'll just stick with Vidarian Lowe only. I think he ended with 2 false starts and a hold as well. So 3 penalties just for him. And it's all started with the very first third down of the game, which I think we all know is a significant moment in the game.
So I'm going to ask this question, which I think I asked. I don't know if it was answered. We talk often about repeat offenders. And I'm not trying to say that all players are created equal, but when Ramondre Stevenson has a fumbling problem, there's cause and effect, and he must go and sit for at least a little bit. He didn't sit for a lot, but he sat. There's cause and effect. When somebody like Lowe has this kind of a performance today, even though you're trying to maintain some continuity on the offensive line, must you or do you need to make a change to just show that we won't tolerate repeat offenders? I'm asking the question.
I would say yes if there was anywhere to go. I just don't think there's
I just
anywhere
don't
to
think
go.
they have any
Is that the problem?
They're out of options unless you want to put DeMontre Jacobs, who I'm assuming is about to pop up on this list as well, over the left tackle.
Yeah, he would be my first guy. I thought he got absolutely dominated by a rookie.
Yeah,
Correct. So that's rookie on rookie. Chop Robinson, I thought, completely owned him. And like Mike said, there's also a number of penalties on him, too.
Yes.
Holds, false starts. So I think he eventually came out of the game and Sidney So went in at tackle.
Yep.
I don't think they have anywhere to go.
No.
And that's the problem. Caden Wallace, if he were healthy, I would certainly have him out there playing to see if he could do better. But they don't have any answers.
Okay, you want to continue down, Mike?
Sure. I'll just kind of continue. Anthony Jennings, I had him initially for a good play on a run stop, but then just the third down, the neutral zone infraction, which, I'm sick of watching the Patriots offense try to get, no one's going to jump for that, guys. And then Anthony Jennings, I
couldn't believe it. It was so apparent that they weren't going to snap the ball. I could not believe that he jumped offside.
Yeah, and that one play alone for me is enough to put him on there. It might have been the only defensive penalty they had the whole game. I'm not sure exactly.
They had a pass interference on Duggar. But,
all right, but still, just that kind of play can't happen. Again, another guy that you re-signed to a 3-year deal. You're hoping to emerge and be a leader on the team, and just it's stupid mental mistakes. That's what Lowe's stuff was. That's a lot with Jacob. Stupid mental mistakes, and those are the kind of things at this time of year that are just unacceptable.
Paul, what would you like to add?
Well, I thought and at the risk of drawing the ire of the people so we don't get specific, I thought the secondary, again, was just over their heads.
Yeah.
And it was all of them. It was Gonzalez on some man-to-mans on third downs. Waddle was winning easily. Then after that, I thought it was Marcus Jones. Really couldn't handle his assignments either. And the safeties had no answers for Jonnu Smith. So you want to talk individually about all of these guys? Sure. I just thought they were Jonathan Jones. I didn't mention him either. He wasn't an answer either. So I just the secondary to me didn't have any answers to the Miami passing game, and it was across the board.
Can I mention something else defensively that I wouldn't put at the top of the list? They did not tackle well today. It was a poor tackling day.
And I think that's always indicative of just you're kind of overmatched.
They weren't close enough to tackle.
Well,
and I agree with you.
In a lot of cases, but
I'm not dismissing. I agree with you. 100%.
When there was an opportunity, I don't think the tackling was very crisp today.
Just out of position. Yep. For the most part. And we actually see a couple of good tackles here on the clip, but just you're not close enough to make that tackle short of the goal line, and that's a problem.
It's just this is what we saw second, third quarter last week against the Rams. It's the same thing this week. In crunch time, it's 10 yards of play. It's just burp, burp, right down the field. There's no negative plays. There's no real impact. Every now and then they pop up and or the other team makes a penalty and that helps. But, just in terms of, we talk about advanced stats like DVOA, like they're going to be the worst defense in the league with DVOA because on a per play basis, they do not make negative impact plays. Everything is at least 2-3 yards. And even some of those plays where it felt like they had it snuffed out, guys are still picking up extra yardage. I remember one with I think it was A-Chain who it looked like he's dropped for 3 yards, but somehow he gets to 8, just stumbling, bumbling, can't get into the ground. It's your tackling stuff, man.
I agree. The tackling wasn't good. And mixed in with that secondary, and I know it's hard to get pressure on Tua, but my God, they weren't anywhere even close.
Yeah.
So is pass rush on on anybody's list?
Oh yeah,
And I know that's general. So you're telling me that the viewers and the callers don't want to hear that, but it was non-existent.
No, and I think that's the only way to do the pass rush. But how many times did you feel like, guys, get to him? Like Tua just sitting there. I can get it. Like Miami's offense, when that first read is there, it's almost impossible. But there were a couple times where he had to go through it a little bit, but there was no
I agree, Mike.
pressure or impact by the defense. It was more just a question of were they able to execute the pass or not, not was it impacted at all by a Patriots
There was
player.
a couple of times that it looked like he was looking around, and you're like, oh, they got a chance here.
Yeah.
Like they took away the first read, and then, no, there's a guy wide open, and he just, he waited to clear, and Waddle comes free. They just didn't have any answers defensively at all. Largely, I hate to sound like it's really being negative, but I just don't think they were very competitive.
It was
today.
non-competitive for sure for the first half. As
The whole
non-competitive,
game. It was non-competitive for the whole game defensively.
Okay, was it as non-competitive as they've been all year?
Yes.
I believe
yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Save for the Jets game, the first
I
Jets
go back
game?
to the Jets game, but
They took their quarterback out with over 11 minutes left.
Right.
yeah, right. And you guys know me, like, I think that says a lot. At Jets, at Miami. Those are two games in the division.
You're very consistent with this, Mike.
It tells you where you're at. It tells you where you're at. Look at some of these other games around here. I mean, look at Tennessee and Houston. Tennessee just put up 30 points. It's now 40 games since the Patriots have put up 40 points. They aren't able to compete in the division right now. I don't know what it's going to look like up in Buffalo in a couple weeks, but that to me is the measuring stick. How do you do in the division? And you got basically non-competitive on 2 of the 3 road games you played.
So, what else do you have on your bad list?
Who specifically?
Missing a big one.
Well, I mean, we want to dive into the coaching of it all. Is that what
That
you're
wasn't
talking
the
about?
big
You want
one,
to talk
no.
about Drake May?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put him on. I mean, I look, at some point he's got to start to grow up, and I mean, I just relay it to, look, he can have off games, that's understandable, but the turnovers, that's the stuff that it just can't keep happening. And so now, when we have multiple turnover games, he's going to end up on the bad list. Like, I'll look the other way for a month of your first season, but at some point he's got to start to cut down on those and eliminate.
Yeah, to me today was less about, and I get everything that Mike is saying, but to me it was less about turnovers. I thought he looked shaky and unsettled really after that second drive. That second drive, I thought he looked just like this is the guy we've seen for six starts or whatever it's been. Then I thought they started to get around him a little bit. He was double clutching on some throws.
Never looked comfortable.
I thought he threw a number of passes sort of against the grain today that, could have been, might have been, could have been, and, he got away with most of them. I don't know. I don't know if he was, sort of feeling the effects of the rush. Certainly Chop Robinson had his way with Trey Jacobs, and that could not have made him comfortable. But I thought his pocket awareness today was not good. I thought he looked shaky for certainly the last 3 quarters. We take that one drive away where I thought he looked like himself. I don't want to call it a step back, but I don't think this was one of his better games.
And with all that being said, and I agree with everything you're saying, at the risk of putting some perfume on a pig, does Drake get a little, maybe graded a little bit differently on the curve? He stayed out and he did compete. The touchdown throw was a pretty good throw. He kept it alive.
Yeah, I didn't like anything that I saw from Drake.
Keeping him out there on the one fourth down that they picked up. Again, I
was it.
I thought he looked
that was
like
the fourth down they picked up. It was a touchdown.
There was
4th and 15.
I thought there was another one that he picked up, and there was another one that they didn't get. I don't know. I just I like the fact.
But was he supposed to just go to the locker room and not play anymore?
Nope, he's not. But I thought he. You know what? I like the fact that he was able to stay in there and go through the whole thing, all the bad included.
I would like it better if he dropped back, got on his back foot, went through his progressions, and hit his receiver. That's what I wanted to see, and I didn't see that once today.
It was difficult with the pass rush.
And that might be everybody else's fault. I'm not saying that it's not. He had all the things that we've been saying for him to this point were all true today too. Like, he doesn't have the greatest weapons. He doesn't have the greatest protection, and they're putting things together. The defense doesn't really give them much support. So all those things are still true. I just thought he's looked better Like, certainly last week, he looked better conventionally.
Yes.
That's what got me so happy last week was it looked like it's supposed to look. I know he can run around and make that throw on 4th down today. I also know I can't win games doing that. I cannot win saying, hey, just go out and play schoolyard football, run around and throw one up there because maybe their 2 safeties will bite on the underneath one on 4th and 15 and leave the tight end by himself at the 3-yard line. That ain't happening.
And that's
on
not
a consistent basis.
And that wasn't the 85 Bears that they were playing today defensively either.
No, absolutely. And please don't take this as, Paul's out on Drake May. There's nobody that's more in on Drake May than me. I wanted to draft him. Again, I will say this for the, I don't know how many weeks in a row, over Jaden Daniels. I liked him better than Jaden Daniels coming out. Nothing I've seen since has convinced me that I'm wrong. I just don't, I'm going to start evaluating him like I'm right. He's the man. Yeah. He's the franchise.
Act like it.
Right. He's the franchise. I didn't see the franchise today.
Yeah.
And Matt made a great point. He said it during the game when we were watching. He said it. He alluded to it just now. Tom Brady's first start in Miami was a disaster. And it was a disaster.
Crawling on his knees, trying to pick up the ball after
every
it was knocked
bit
out
as
of his
bad
hands.
as what today was.
Yep.
So it doesn't mean that the first trip to Miami has to mean, well, he couldn't handle Miami, so there's no hope. I just don't think he was great today. It wasn't a disaster. I mean, 22 for 37, 222, a touchdown and a pick, plus a fumble. I mean, not good, but it's not like I think Tom Brady threw for like 70 yards in that game.
Right.
So, we're starting to grade him with the regular curve instead of the rookie curve.
Yeah.
All right. Who else is on the bad list? I think you sort of.
Well, I think look, I'm getting a little bit of Gerard in his press conference, and he took responsibility for the penalties again. And I mean, I think that's an easy place to start with the coaching performance today. I might focus more on just defense, where it just doesn't feel like there's much brewing right there. Last week you really got rolled over. Knew what you're going on up against this week. Didn't really have any answers to prevent it from happening 2 weeks in a row. But I think overall, you're seeing the sloppiness, the things that we judged last year about. These are not hallmarks of a well-coached team. Some of these mistakes that are happening right now and error repeaters. You said, Matt, this is starting to happen every week now. You're getting 8, 9, 10 penalties a week, and it's just really hard when you don't have talent to overcome those things.
So two things there I want to follow up with you on. I couldn't agree with you more on the penalties. I think that is a reflection on the coaching staff, and I believe that if he's looking himself in the mirror, I believe Gerard Mayo's saying that. This is a reflection on the staff. But on the defense, they're not playing well. They played quite poorly the last 2 weeks. They were poor today. I just don't know what else they have, Mike. I think their defense is getting exposed because they really don't have anybody there. There's no guy who's going to win a matchup one-on-one to try to get pressure on the quarterback. In the secondary, when you've got other weapons, if you wanted to take away Hill, you wanted to take away Waddle on plays, Jonnu Smith is just living in the middle of the field or wherever he was, doing whatever he wanted to do. The other team seemingly has an answer every single time. If you make one move, they're going to counter that almost every time. And I just don't know if they've got the horses against a decent offense to do anything to get in their way.
Yeah, maybe maybe I took some of that Chicago game a little bit too much to heart of thinking that they could do some stuff. And maybe you're right. I mean, I feel like the line you're getting on is they're just, unfortunately, by most metrics, one of the bottom
Dennis
two or
Green.
three defenses in the league, and there's nothing really they can do about it over these last 5 games.
I would also feel better if Jonnu Smith beat them today. I'd be like, you can't take away everything. They didn't take away anything.
No.
They don't take away anything.
They don't.
No.
What'd they run for today, Paul? They didn't.
Yeah, I don't think they ran for a tremendous amount, but they didn't really try
They didn't need
either.
to. Right. I heard McDaniel talk about that coming out of the half, that they wanted to establish the run. They didn't need to.
They only ran for 65 yards today. 20. So basically, it was 21 for 67 yards. If you take out the kneel downs, so they didn't run the ball well today, but they didn't ever really try to. They just said that we can throw 12-yard passes all day because they can't stop
That's
it.
exactly it.
And that's what I'm saying. It's so Jonnu Smith ends up with whatever it was, 9 catches for 87 yards. But Waddle has 8 for 144. Tyreek Hill, you'd think like, oh, you shut down. You're not really. Like they just didn't really need him. And when they did throw it to him, it was complete. 5 for 48 on 6 targets. So they didn't take anything away. I don't know if they can play man-to-man or not, but those throws almost all were instantaneous, and they're getting thrown to guys that are wide open.
Yeah, it's wide open.
Yep.
You know? So, like I said, I don't think they were overly competitive on either side of the ball today. Like, I'm not – when I say they weren't competitive, I mean the results. I don't mean the effort.
No,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not
Like,
about effort.
I think that Marcus Jones and Christian Gonzalez and Jonathan Jones are not just letting the guys go because they're not trying. That's not what I'm suggesting. I just don't feel like they have any answers.
Right. Right now, theirs are better than yours, and I think that that's fairly obvious. It's almost a little bit across the board.
Yeah,
right?
it is. I mean, even we had a little discussion before in the pregame show about the 2010 and 2011 team, and I went through some of their rankings, and it was, they were terrible in yards, but they were up near the top in takeaways. There was always something with those defenses in the past.
Takeaway today, Mike.
That,
Don't be negative.
Well, I'm saying, like, at least in the past, you look at some of these poor defenses that, all right, well, there's something they do good. Like these guys don't do anything. There's nothing really to hang your hat on with this defense. I mean, they don't. I mean, last year's defense, even no matter what you say, like they stopped the run. They stopped the run well.
Yeah.
This defense has nothing to hang their hat on, and that's really. I mean, with 5 games to go, that's probably the story.
And I think there's something situational to this too, Mike. I think they caught Chicago at a great time. Dysfunction going on.
Coming out 2 games into a losing streak after a bad loss.
Offensive line problems, everything like that. Similarly, I think they caught Miami at a terrible time.
Oh, yeah.
Miami's playing for something. They are looking at the postseason. They've got a short week. I was hoping that they were going to look past the Patriots, maybe and try and focus on Green Bay to keep New England in the game today. I was wrong, underlined. Okay? They put their foot down and put the pedal to the metal, and it was 24-0 before he even blinked. So that's where I'm talking about situationally. They caught Chicago at a good time. They did not catch Miami at a good time.
100%.
Now the question is, what did Indianapolis scored 6 points today against Detroit at home?
Yep. And supposedly when you play the team after they play Detroit, it's a good thing. But the last time that happened, it wasn't a good thing.
Right. So but situationally, maybe they're catching the Colts at a different time. I don't know. All right. Have we emptied the bad bucket list?
No. I have Joey Sly on my bad list. You have one good drive, and you have a chance to take the lead down in Miami, and he clanks one off the upright. 45-yarder. Not an overly long kick. I mean, not a chip shot, but not an overly long kick. You got to make that. Can't hit the upright with that. And I have a nit to pick. There's nothing that drives me more insane than when a defensive back gets up and celebrates after the guy he's covering drops a pass. And Marcus Jones did that not once but twice today when Odell Beckham failed to catch easy passes that he was not really in good coverage on either time. The celebration I can't handle. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's an old guy. I will take your slings and arrows. I know you'll call me the old guy that doesn't understand, doesn't like to have fun. I do like to have fun. I am very much involved with, celebrations when you have the turnovers. Mike drives Mike crazy when they have the orchestrated turnover celebration in the end zone all the time. I love those for the most part. But when you're down 24-0 and the guy's 15, 20 yards downfield with the ball right in his hands, drops it, and you get up and celebrate, I'm not here for that.
The only thing is you're picking on Marcus Jones, and that's fine. Jalen Hawkins was doing the same thing. He was celebrating as well.
I didn't even see Jalen Hawkins on the field.
He was putting his finger up in the air and demonstrative. And I'm with you.
He didn't get beat in coverage, though.
I know. I'm old school that way, too.
It drives me crazy. Yeah. I don't care about the score.
I do.
I care about your performance. Like, if you had good coverage on the play and Christian Ellis was beaten on the play but kept with it on that play to Achane in the end zone. He got his arm up, was able to sort of disrupt Achane enough to knock the ball away. That's a good play. If you do that, I don't want you to celebrate like Deion Sanders if you're down 24-0, but I don't mind you being excited about making a play.
What was the score?
You're
at that
competing.
Point was it 7-0 or 14-0 at the time? I do think the score matters.
I don't remember, but what I'm saying is it doesn't matter to me. It's my bad list.
7-0.
It doesn't matter to
nice
me
job,
if
Chris
you're
Judge
happy.
And Josh Davis with the shot here.
If you're
really
happy
nice
about making a good defensive play, I don't mind. Like, that's not an easy play that Christian Ellis made. If he's happy about that and they happen to be down 24-0 at the time, I don't need you to be Deion Sanders celebration. But you made a good play, and you should be happy about it. I have no problem with that.
And he struggled on wheel
But when
routes,
when the guy covers, when the guy that you're covering is 3 yards in the clear and he just drops the pass and you had nothing to do with it, and that's nothing compared to it. Get up with the number one signal. Like we're going to force the team to punt for the first time like all year. Look at how open he is on this play, and it's just a drop. So I like those are the celebrations. And yes, Matt's point, the score like really bugs me there. Like that's one I would be mad in a scoreless tie if you celebrated. But the score makes it even worse.
And it was 24-0 at the time. Do you have anything left on your list, sir?
No, nothing specific.
That's it for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And injuries, I mean, none of us are doctors. I don't recall seeing it. Jordan was removed we assume for performance, correct?
Jacobs, right tackle, was removed for.
Excuse me, right.
But Jonathan Jones was hurt. He came back in. And Sione Takitaki, I don't think we saw him again.
I don't remember seeing him back in. I didn't know Jonathan Jones left the game, did he? I know he was slow getting up on that touchdown.
Just saw, that was all.
And Duggar was slow getting up, but he was back in the game too.
Correct.
Banged up, but it didn't seem like there was a. What's that one?
Yeah, I didn't notice the Taki I did notice early in the game, but I didn't really see. Yeah, Duggar I think was hurt a little bit there, but he came back in the game.
Yeah.
34-15, the Patriots lose to the Miami Dolphins today. We want to hear from you. Email us at podcast@patriots.com or call at 855-PATS-500. We see you lined up. We'll get to those calls and then emails after this quick timeout.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex Disc contours to it, so the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex Disc contours to it, so the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Nice! Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Nice! Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
Join the conversation by calling into the TPX hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at podcast@patriots.com. Now, live from our studios, here is Matt Smith.
And welcome back to the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings. The Patriots go to Miami and get thumped. 34-15 is the final. As the voice just said, email and call us, please. First email is out from Nick in Phoenix, Arizona, who wants to know, gentlemen, I know that Matt believes Mayo should get more grace with him being a rookie head coach, but what promise has he shown this season? If he was a rookie quarterback, he'd be equivalent to Bryce Young last year. I didn't expect a great team this season, but getting thoroughly outcoached week after week is just plain bad. Bad challenges, poor play calling, a plethora of penalties, etc. is a sign of a badly coached team, and I fear what will happen next year since there is no shot Mayo is let go after next season. That is Nick from Phoenix, a tad harsh. Just on the challenges today, Paul, I know we talked about it at the time. We had no problem with the challenge on the Waddle.
No, I thought it was
catch,
incomplete,
right?
to be honest. And I still
Same
think
here.
I still think it
agree.
was incomplete.
So did Gene Steratore, by the way, who never disagrees with the field ruling.
Now, and I mean, this was, you could make an argument either way on the decision to challenge, because it was a penalty on the Patriots anyway, so it was going to be a 1st and 10 no matter what. But it was a difference of about 14 yards. I think it was a 19-yard catch. It would only been a 5-yard defensive holding call. But I didn't think that he made that catch. I thought the ground helped him make the catch. The ball doesn't move, but I thought right here the ball is on the ground, and that helped him make the catch. That's the way I looked at it. But in other words, I didn't have a problem with Gerard Mayo challenging that, even though we lost it. Everything else that the emailer said is absolutely fair.
Penalties,
the penalties will not change. They have not changed.
Correct.
Like at some point, something's got to change.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. I know everybody else does, like penalize teams. That's poorly coached. Least penalized. That's I don't know. I don't really look at it that way. But the fact of the matter is this team is heavily penalized, and a lot of the penalties are pre-snap, which are completely preventable.
No question. Brendan in Clinton, Connecticut writes, at what point does Drake stop getting a pass for multiple turnovers every game? First few games I thought, no big deal, he's learning. The show talks about players not being error repeaters. For the most part, Drake hasn't been an error repeater, except with turnovers. It's not a concern for me it is a concern with me with another turnovers. He's never going to consistently win with multiple turnover games every single week. Ball protection needs to become a bigger priority for the kid. Thank you, says Brendan and Clinton. Paul, I think you're moving, if you haven't already moved, to that side of the street where you're saying it's now time to maybe grade him a little bit differently.
Well, I just feel, like I would disagree with he hasn't been an error repeater. He has been. And that's why he's turning the ball over. And there's other plays that are, quote-unquote, turnover-worthy that aren't turnovers. They don't always show up in the turnover category. I think that he is, at times, lacks awareness in the pocket. Not presence. Like, there's a difference.
Yes.
I think he always has his eyes downfield looking to make plays, but the awareness is knowing when, like, there was a... Is that the one? Okay, that's not the one.
Poor decision.
Okay.
This is the tipped interception.
That's the tipped interception. That's not the one. There was another Ramsey blitz off the edge there that he got home and made the sack. And Matt and I are looking like, how does he not see this coming?
Yeah.
That's, to me, more pocket awareness. I think he can be a little loose with the football at times. And, this is all part of the learning curve. And I'll say this again. This is the Fred Kirsch mantra that he and I are lockstep with, and I know, Mike, you're with us too, and Evan as well. This is why I wanted him to play from week one, because I'm hoping that by the time we're at this stage of the season next year, we see very little of these things. because they've been sort of beaten out of him, for a lack of a better term. Yeah. He understands what he can and can't do.
Dean in Liverpool, the UK, writes, and we'll hit the phones after this, the lack of discipline in this team is unacceptable. During the second drive, 3 penalties seriously hurt us. The team is depending on a 22-year-old to save them, but he can't do everything alone. While fans may focus on 2 turnovers, the reality is that he was trying to make a play when his team was facing a significant deficit and there wasn't much time left. He needs to learn from this experience. I'm confident he will. However, he is being let down by the rest of the team. That is Dean from
Can I just
Liverpool.
say, that's why I said today I don't think was about the turnovers, because the turnovers were irrelevant today. They had nothing to do with the game. The first 3 quarters, when he had a 0 on the board, had plenty to do with Drake May. And turnovers didn't have anything to do with that. This isn't just about no help. He didn't play well today. The offense didn't play well today. The offensive line let him down today. All of the above. All is true. But it's somewhere in between those 2 emails is probably where the truth lies. And it's good, because that's what we should have. We should have, sort of debate going back and forth as to what we're seeing.
Right. 855-PATS-500 is the number. Eldred from North Carolina, you're first in the Patriots postgame show, presented by DraftKings. Hi, Eldred.
Hey, fellas. How y'all doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm okay. Just shell-shocked, but it's like the announcers and everybody saying, like, we already know. We just outmanned. In certain positions, we just outmanned. You got one standout corner. Baltimore, if he ever get better, then White showed up a couple times, but you got no linebackers. You really ain't got no deep corners, so that's that. But Drake gonna be Drake, so he gonna make mistakes. Like I say, he's a rookie. Y'all might well just look for it. He did that in North Carolina. He's gonna do it here, but he's a playmaker. But he might get a little bit better because he's doing better every week. Did I see here than we were doing in North Carolina? But those turnovers gonna come. But Paul,
yes, sir.
Ain't it amazing how when people leave, like we didn't know how to use John O. Smith when we had him, but he go to Atlanta, then come to the Dolphins and show out. Ain't that amazing?
Yeah, I mean, he was a good player in Tennessee. He was a good player in Atlanta, and he's a good player now with Miami. He was not a good player when he was with the Patriots. And that was with a lot of different offensive coordinators. That wasn't just, Matt Patricia. That was Josh McDaniels as well. I don't know if they just didn't understand how to use his skill set or what it was, but he certainly has had a nice bounce back year in Miami. He's played well for them.
I don't want to take anything away from John O. Smith, because I think you're right, Paul. He has had a nice bounce back for them, and he gives them a different weapon. I'd like to think that a lot of people in between Waddle and Hill would potentially thrive.
Yeah,
that's a nice spot to be in.
I'll say this. They've had a lot of different tight ends over the years, and none of them have thrived the way he has.
Okay.
And yeah. I'll say that is number one. And number two, he's thrived in Tennessee.
Yep.
And he thrived in Atlanta. I think he had like 50 catches last year.
Correct.
So this is not just a one-off for him because Waddle and Hill are taking up all the attention. I don't know what the Patriots did with him. I don't know what the answer to the question is as to why it didn't work. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm
but
not,
it didn't work. That's for sure.
No, and I still see some of the things that I saw from him. He doesn't always look. He's a really good athlete. He doesn't always look overly athletic with the ball in his hands when he's running. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I still see the stuff that we used to sort of say, well, that doesn't look right when he does things when he was with the Patriots.
Yep.
Except for you look up and it's 8 for 87 and a touchdown at the end of this game.
I've even seen flashes that similar thing with Nelson Aguilar that with in the Ravens at times. Like it's just
a fair point.
Looks, geez, he looks like an actual receiver. He didn't, he had some moments here, but a lot of mistakes, a lot of injuries. I mean, these guys all just had, I don't know. It's a great question. I'd love to hear an in-depth schematic look of here's what the Patriots were trying to do with him and here's why it's working a little
I'd be
better
willing
on
to
him.
listen to that. Probably only for a couple of minutes, though. I get bored on those.
Correct. Deshaun in Virginia, you're
I
next.
got it.
Deshaun in Virginia, you're next on the Patriots postgame show, sponsored by DraftKings. Hi, Deshaun.
Hello, guys. I'm back again. I just wanted to say, it's quite obvious that the personnel is a major problem. People want to blame the coaching or whatever, but it's quite obvious that the personnel is the problem. They have no linebackers. They have, they can cover or stop the run or do any of those type of things or whatever. And then when you guys mentioned about players like John Smith or whatever, as far as going to other places and playing well, the other guy just took the words right out of my mouth what I was thinking the entire time. if you look at those other teams, they've always had, like, everywhere he's been, they've had some type of down the field threat or two, which can take up space where you can benefit from. The reason why when guys come here and the offense is so congested because they don't have anybody who can stretch the field. It's a personnel problem. Until they get that rectified, they would never beat Miami.
Did you think they had what did you think of when Mac Jones' rookie year offensively? How did you think their offense was? Like
I think it was. I think they just benefited from really, really poor teams. I think they were better with the
Okay,
We're on Paul's side of the street
I
now,
would agree.
Deshaun.
I think they benefited from some poor teams, but why didn't Jonnu Smith benefit from the poor teams? Why did Kendrick Bourne have 800 yards that year, but no one else could benefit from that?
When it comes down to it, they don't have anybody else to really, draw attention.
Yeah, but they did that year. That's my point.
Better guys in order to thrive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's something on the coaching staff that hasn't been able. They weren't able to unlock whatever it is
Thanks for the call,
that allows
Deshaun.
him to be successful with all of the other offenses he's a part of. This is Hill and Waddle. I understand how good they are.
Yeah,
was Drake London gave him that much space last year?
No, I mean, and that's like.
Do you know what I mean? With Desmond Ridder throwing the ball like that, he had that much space.
I mean, this is just a. I don't know if this is exactly what along the lines, but just feeling like what I just watched. Johnny was schemed open a lot, and
yes.
and here it was like anytime there was a contested catch and there was some physicality involved, and like you said, Paul, he's not like he looks kind of awkward.
Not
he gets
overly
thrown
smooth.
off, but when he's wide open and he has a second to gather himself and he can turn and get in the end zone, he looks okay. It's a great question though, and I mean I think it's just emblematic of everything that's going on right now. Where hey, we had this guy and now you go against him and he looks like a world beater, but you couldn't get more than like 10 catches out of him.
We want your emails, and that's podcast@patriots.com. Finlay in Dundee, Scotland writes, and I'm going to try to surf through a little of this because it's fairly lengthy, but he wants to hit on the roster. Is there currently a worse roster than the Patriots have in the NFL? You could make the argument that every position outside of quarterback is up for discussion in the offseason. Thank you for your coverage of the team. That's Finlay in Dundee, Scotland. I said earlier in the postgame show, when you're putting together a grocery list to go to Thanksgiving or to try to buy things for Thanksgiving, it's generally a longer list. Elliott Wolf and Company has a very long Thanksgiving Day-like list to go shopping for this year. And I don't know that they can do it all in, between, even with free agency and the draft.
But that's not the
goal. How do you
goal.
get it all done?
Yeah, that's not the goal. The goal isn't to do it as fast as you can.
No, of course
The goal
not.
is to do it right.
Right.
Have it in place and have the infrastructure in place to handle like the ups and downs if you're going to lose guys. Oh, and here we go, an updated look here
Up
on
to
our
4
video team. The Patriots now 4th. Jacksonville, Giants, Raiders, Patriots, Panthers are your top 5.
Yeah. So one of the biggest, the way this season is going, I mean, they have 5 games left, right? The way this game is going, one of the biggest disappointments for me will be the lack of anything beyond Drake May in the draft class.
Yep.
Well, there was another week wasted
Huge
this
problem.
week. There was another week wasted this week.
Yeah, I just don't think they're very good. I mean, I don't know what they're. I'm not putting this on the coaches. I just don't think that they. I mean, this is an Elliott Wolf thing. I mean, he's the one that took these players, and the coaches all keep saying, "Yeah, we still have confidence in these guys. They're going to be good players." Alex Van Pelt was adamant about it on Thursday when we talked to him, Mike. We still feel like these guys are going to be good players in the league. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And, the only one I don't really know anything about is Caden Wallace because he just hasn't played enough. But the other guys have gotten ample opportunities, and they just haven't really they haven't shown that they have anything. I mean, is that too harsh? That's probably giving me my biggest takeaway is, man, it doesn't look like they got anything in this draft beyond Drake May.
No, I mean, and you look with Thornton leaving, what they got out of the 22 draft class, and then you look at this draft class. I mean, that's how you stay down near the bottom. You have 1 or 2 players per draft that hang around and are actually impact players, and everybody else is tossed to the wind within 2 to 3 seasons, and that's what you're seeing with some of those other older drafts. You got to hope that somehow they pull it out. They're giving us what they want us to hear of, we still believe in all of these guys, but like Paul said, you got one guy right now.
Terrence in Raleigh, North Carolina writes, I remember a game, and you guys are going to remember this, in the late aughts where the Patriots were blowing out Miami. The Patriots put in Matt Castle, who then threw a pick.
It was 07.
The Patriots then went back to Brady. Interesting how history repeats itself, albeit against the Patriots. I think Drake May can be great. if he cleans up his ball protection. That's Terrence in Raleigh, North Carolina. Back to the phone lines.
Yeah, I made that comment at the time. As soon as I saw the ball go in the ground, I said, that's why you don't put your backup quarterback in with 11 minutes left, and I bet you Tua has to come back in now. And he did.
Good for you. Good for you.
Oh,
855 Pat's
I'm sorry.
500.
Did that make you angry?
No.
You know
Not
what?
in the
You know
least.
what bugged
Not
me
in the
about that?
least.
That
You're-
07 was. I think Brady actually wiped his eye black off and had to go back in without the eye black. And
He
that
was
just-
pissed. I think he had his
bugged
sweats,
me.
like his sweatband, like his
Right.
wristbands off and
Yeah.
stuff.
Bill made him go hand it off like
You
3
pat
times.
yourself on the back, Paul. That's okay. No problem.
Wow.
Eric in New Jersey is next on the Patriots postgame show, brought to you by DraftKings. Hi, Eric.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Okay, how are you?
To be fair, I mean, I don't think. Good. I think, just to be fair, I don't think Baker really got that much of opportunity. He's got his first attempt, but
Baker
hit on 2 other.
Baker has had an opportunity. He's been eligible to play every game this year. He hasn't been hurt at all.
How many targets he got though? That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't
He's
deserve
got more
them.
targets.
That's what you're missing. If he was doing anything,
To be fair, I mean,
but if he was doing anything at all in practice, you think that this offense wouldn't welcome a guy who could potentially help them into the equation?
no, that's fair. That's a fair point. I'm just saying he just hasn't many. I mean, I haven't seen the ball in his hands or anything to see. Obviously, just besides the kick return last week, but I mean, not to be
He's been
there,
awful.
but
He had a target today, didn't he? Thrown at his feet.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about catching the ball. I'm sorry. If Alex Van Pelt was seeing this kid in practice Kayshon Boutte went from inactive to a part of the game because he was working in practice and playing well in practice. Clearly, that's not happening with Javon Baker.
No, all fair points. I'm just saying that. I would like to see the ball in his hands, kind of see what he does. But moving forward, Kyle Duggar, still the same player. How many years now in the league? Still can't really cover. I know he's coming off the injury. I mean, it just seems like he still hasn't taken that next step in his game. And just see it hit on. I know you guys gave praise to Alex Van Pelt last week, but I just kind of want to mention how just Mike McDaniel makes the game easier for Tua. Just when that A-Chain's first touchdown. They come in there with heavy run personnel, 2 running backs, 2 heavy tight ends, and they do that screenplay. I mean, that's when I think people are talking about a modern offense. And
Yep,
where
it's a good point.
That's a good point, Eric.
It's a really good point.
And thanks
there's
for the
not
phone
a lot.
call.
There's not a lot that's been easy for the Patriots, and that is why I gave Alex Van Pelt credit last week, because I do think he dialed up some things that made it easy for Drake May, but there hasn't been enough of it. Absolutely a great point by Eric.
The AVP detractors are coming at it. An emailer here. This is Jake in Australia. With all the praise AVP has gotten from May, can we now rip him for the backstep? Don't know that we need to rip him, but in any event, absolutely awful all-around coaching, players, everyone. Please be the saving grace for the Patriots today, guys. That's Jake in Australia. How are we going to be the saving grace in a 34-15 pummeling?
I don't know, man. I mean, you can only talk about Drake May's potential so much, and I mean, it goes back to the personnel, like you guys said. And I mean, I agree with everything you said about Duggar. I mean, none of these guys that you hoped would take a step forward this year have taken a step forward. I mean, and those are a lot of guys that you gave deals to that you were, him, Jennings, guys who have been around a little bit. You want to show some, those are the guys that you're hoping, all right, you've got some stability here. We want you to be a leader. We want you to step up. And, and as I said at the top, you've got guys like Anthony Jennings and, going off, jumping off sides on a 3rd and 1 with the clock running out when they're not even going to run a play. It's not good enough, and they're not getting the leadership that they need.
And I would just say it can't work that way. It can't be Drake May is great. Look at how good the offense was. The offense is terrible. Alex Van Pelt needs to do a better job. It can't work. It can't work that way.
Right.
It's not fair.
On Duggar, I'd just like to cut maybe. We don't know how hurt he is. Is he working through the ankle or something like that?
He's been back for a couple of weeks.
No, I'm just asking. He grimaced on one play. Came out maybe for a play and then was back in.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Duggar with a little bit more around him defensively. I think in a situation like this, when there's not a lot around him defensively, he gets exposed. And I can understand why people are sitting there. Hey, they re-signed him. Where's the playmaking? The ball hit him. Did it hit him between the 2 and the 3 today?
It's funny like that. You have a really good play in the red zone and still come out with a negative because he probably should have picked it
Right.
up. But it was a good play.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. I would still, though, just say, I mean, May, Gonzalez, and Barmore, I think, are the only 3 players that I really feel strongly about.
Untouchable.
That those are guys that can play and that you can build around. And I don't know to what level those guys even are, but I think all of them could be impact players in the NFL. But after that, it's It's a pretty big drop-off.
Trevor in Revere writes, I wasn't old enough to watch the 2000 Patriots, so I have a question for you all. How does the talent and coaching from this team compare to the 2000 team? I can't help but feel like the coaching staff is overmatched most weeks, but I have no reference point. Are these just growing pains, or a cause for concern? Good question from Trevor. Paul, you want to take that one on?
You better hope they're just growing pains, because it would be a huge cause of concern if this is what it is. But, Matt brought up in the pregame show, like we're talking about Drake May and we're talking about rookie and 7 starts, right? Today was 7. It's been some turnover issues and working through them, but as to be expected. So it is a rookie head coach making a lot of decisions for the first time. I'm a little frustrated that some of the same things continue to be problems week after week after week.
Penalties.
But I do think that Matt makes a good point, and that you should probably look at him a little bit on a curve as well.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I hear the word growing. I mean, do you feel like they're growing?
No.
I mean,
not this week.
Certainly.
But I think by far and away the bigger issue is the talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say I've seen some progress from the offense at times. I mean, it's like we said, it's up and down. I haven't really seen the progress on the defense.
No. Nope. Jacob in Rochester, New York writes, as much as I've been enjoying Drake May play and him showing amazing physical abilities, the biggest thing that's frustrating are the clutch time interceptions. Is this who he's going to be as a quarterback?
Well, there was nothing clutch time today.
Yeah.
Right. Nice fake punt by the Raiders.
Oh, jeez. Is that Devon Diablo?
Good, Mike.
It's a good name.
Mike,
That's
you could be
name.
Scott Hansen. I mean, there was nothing. No one's trying to. The reason why I kind of caught my ear is because I'm wondering if people tried to convince themselves that there was like a sniff of hope in this game at any point, because there wasn't.
No. Paul, you'll enjoy this. This is Marcus in Argentina. The worldwide reach of the Patriots postgame show presented by DraftKings is really a worldwide reach. Boy, did we get whooped today. Some levity after the game. Does anyone care to venture a guess on why the main referee was flexing his biceps on every flag explanation? What a D-bag. It was really annoying.
Hey,
thank you for the email,
Mark.
You got him, use him.
But I actually thought he kind of had flat. Like, did you see like the bottom? I'm not.
Paul, who are you to judge? You're body shaming the poor referee? Come on, Paul.
I'm body shaming
better
because
than that.
I believe that was it Marcus.
It was Marcus in Argentina.
I believe Marcus.
Good
is
note, Marcus.
I think he's dead on.
Yeah.
The guy had his holding. He had a very.
So you had to maintain it.
He had a very outstretched. Where can I get? Where's my one? Okay. He had a very outstretched holding call. I didn't understand what he was doing, other than trying to show us, like Marcus said, how big his arms are.
I think there's been a concerted effort by the league to get the new referees.
Oh, guns,
tighter shirts.
Oh, yeah, right.
In shape, showing it off.
Right.
Let's go. It's entertainment, baby.
Handing out the guns.
It's entertainment.
L in Wisconsin writes, I think Paul is being unfair in his analysis of May. To start, I completely agree that May should have been on the bad list. It's just a reasoning I disagree with. You said you wanted to see him hit the back of the drops and go through his progression. Today, though, it simply wasn't an option. There were usually 2 defenders in the backfield by the time
it wasn't
May got
like
the
that
ball.
early in the game.
Now,
even the announcers were talking about the pockets, the clean pockets that he had early in the game. There was a third down that he threw about 8 feet behind a guy that I just think he wasn't on his. I think he was sped up today.
Now
he was sped up today.
Let's let L finish. Do I think he could have been better? I think he was shaky and could have been more poised on the run. He also struggled identifying where the rush was coming from. I'm not freaking out about him or anything. I still saw enough to tell me that he's the guy. I think that was actually a fair, other than his criticism of you, maybe a fair.
I think
email.
we're actually lockstep.
Right.
I feel exactly the way L described the game today. I think he was sped up and wasn't seeing the rush well and didn't have his best game. Doesn't mean I don't think he's the guy.
Right. 855-PATS-500, the number. Sean in Florida, where the Patriots were thumped 34-14, 34-15. I don't know why I keep saying that. 34-15, the final. Sean, you're next on the Patriots postgame show presented by DraftKings. Hi, Sean.
Hey, guys. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I just got 3 takeaways. Discipline, number 1, which goes on coaching. You know, like I was in the military for 22 years. And you got to be brilliant on the basics, right? And these guys are not brilliant on the basics at all. What I'm referring to is obviously offensive penalties and
pre-snap.
Yeah, pre-snap stuff. That's just straight coaching, and it's very, very demoralizing. The other one was like, May's pocket presence. I think it was like early in the second quarter, they lined up 3 defensive guys to his left and like one extremely wide, and he had no pocket presence whatsoever to step up in that pocket. All he had to do was take 3 steps forward and make a read or even run. And then my third point was the defense. Is it just me, or does every week tight ends tear us apart? And I'll take comments off there. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the call, Sean.
Well, not last week. Last week it was wide receivers.
Right.
This week it was everybody.
Yeah, and the middle of the field certainly seemed to be an area of concern. It was wide open all day long.
Anything they wanted, they got.
The
today.
boundaries?
Those quick slants, anything they wanted. Even like the H-hand plays, like the little swing pass for the touchdown and made it 21.
Yeah.
Just too easy.
No, you see when a offensive coordinator has his quarterback, his system in place, he's got his pieces, and he's rolling, and it's easy to get defenses on their heels and not know what's coming, and that's certainly what happened today. It's just, credit to Mike McDaniel. He did a good job at home.
Here's a head-scratcher from Dave in May, and you can email us at podcast@patriots.com. May, different word, stinks. It's time to move on. Let's try to get Sanders in the first round. He, I'm assuming he means May, has fooled all of us with his cute faces and his aw shucks attitude. But he's a phony. He's thrown 2 game-winning passes to the wrong team. Now he says he's just kidding. Okay. Not his best game, but he'll be fine. The defense is a problem. Can't cover, can't tackle. I put Covington on the top of the bad list.
Yeah, I didn't think for a second
Dave,
that email was
Dave, you got me.
Come on, Dave.
I should have read the whole thing in advance first, but I actually
That's
sort
more
of did.
of a PU experience kind of thing. We get those every once in a while. They set them
Try
up.
to walk us into it.
Let's play
get
fool
Paul all mad.
Let's play fool the host. It's not a tough thing to do, by the way.
No, it's not. It works. I mean, it occasionally works. That one I saw coming.
You see Paul's hands start to go like this. He's starting to get something rumbling. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Joe in Weymouth writes, guys, would we have had more positive yards if we had just played without a left tackle? That's a poor attempt at humor, but I get it. I don't expect much each week, so I'm in on improving draft position at this point. Lastly, like old me and Paul, I get peeved when receivers celebrate a first down when trailing by 24 and 31. That's Joe in Weymouth writing in on that one.
Big first down.
Well, I could have done that too, because there were a couple of first down signals from receivers today. After the game was well in hand. Douglas and Bourne would be the 2 guys.
I actually thought Bourne's was toned down for him, and he's an energy guy, so I would have assumed a little bit more.
I didn't think it was toned down. There was one on the sideline that he was in the guy's face 3 times, going like this, and I was like, "It's 24-0, bro."
Right. Kevin from San Francisco is next on the line. Kevin, you're next on the Patriots Postgame show presented by DraftKings. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, guys. First of all, I feel bad for you guys that you have to do this job because this team, this is the first time I walked out of my bar today at halftime. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to watch this. It's an embarrassment now. It's no longer a disappointment. It's an embarrassment on all fronts. Coaching, players, up to the office, the whole thing. It's garbage. And forget Felger now. I just want them to get embarrassed and lose every game so we get a better pick. That's our only at this point in time. So good luck, guys. Love you.
Thanks, Kevin, and appreciate the phone call. And angry Kevin there. Fear not for us and feel not for us. This is our job, and we delight in doing it.
I got to catch.
Maybe I just speak for myself.
No. I think that's a catch. 1 foot in, and then his other foot hit the pylon. His other leg hit the pylon. Marvin Harrison, a beautiful catch. Anyway, I mean, you don't have to worry about us and part of this, but the whole draft pick thing, for what? What do you want?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've already won the draft pick lottery this year.
You're talking about, playing for a pick?
Yeah. They need to figure out a way to get. They need to find a way to get some players.
Chris, can you go back to that last slide that actually had the 25 draft and players? So there you go. Yeah, Will Campbell now penciled in at 4.
Yeah, and that's
I don't think that's. I think Kelvin
high, isn't it?
Kelvin Banks is the top tackle.
Kelvin Banks would be. I mean, right now, if you're talking most up to date, Will Campbell is probably much lower. I mean, maybe 15, 20s.
I like Kelvin Banks better. Now he had a horrible game against Georgia. Kelvin Banks. So that might hurt his stock, big stage, against a high-quality defense. He did not play well. But, Fred is really, he's given me the epiphany of really trying to be open-minded about the position that they take. If you want to take, the Arizona wide receiver instead, McMillan, I can listen to those arguments. I think tackle is an enormous need. Yeah. But if you don't think a tackle is worthy of a top 10 pick, don't take it.
Pick the best player.
Pick the best player.
Yep.
That's the one benefit. I know you're in a horrible spot with your roster, but the one benefit of needing everything is you do not have to get locked into a position.
Right. And you should find somebody there. Positivity, an email from Boston Cream, who writes, speaking of the draft, not sure why everyone is stressing about the roster. If the Patriots can hit on all 10 of these draft picks this year, we'll be back in playoff contention. Start doing your prayers and blessings for Elliot Wolf. That's Boston Cream. More levity, mixed with some anger, by the way, that I would have thought coming from Patriot fans today.
Well, he's a donut, so, donut logic, that one.
Nicholas writes in, talent is secondhand to the penalty problems. This might be something to debate about. It's obvious that the offensive line needs to be revamped and coached better. But another obvious point is that a defense that allows 30-plus points that easily makes an offensive job almost impossible. Smith looked like Travis Kelce today. That's Nicholas who writes in on that. I would say it's the roster before the penalties, but both are problems you don't want to have.
I just don't understand how the NFL works. I don't understand how that's not a touchdown. And I don't understand how Chad Ryland now kicks every field goal directly over the middle bar in between the uprights. He looks like Adam. He looks like Adam in his prime.
855-PATS-500. Max from New Hampshire, you're next on the Patriots postgame show presented by DraftKings. Good afternoon, Max. Hello, Max. No, Max. Max isn't there. We'll let him go. Look at that. I think I might have successfully done that, Matt. Daniel in Alabama, you're next on the Patriots postgame show presented by DraftKings. Hi, Daniel.
Hey, guys. Hey, I appreciate you taking my call. I'm so glad to get to talk to you. I may live in Alabama, but a lifetime Pats fan. Grew up in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And I just want to say one thing. I'm actually totally disagree with the take on Drake May today. I'll agree with Paul that it just wasn't his best day. But the way I look at it is the big touchdown throw, he's running on and throwing on the run on every single pass. I mean, the guy, I've never seen a quarterback getting run over like he is and getting chased out of the pocket on every single drop back like he is since Steve Grogan. Like, that's how bad this is.
I got a lot more than that.
He's running for his life on every single play.
Yeah, so, I think a lot of times he runs for his life because of the way he doesn't see the rush, but whatever.
Well,
we can disagree.
I mean, that may be to some extent, but again, some of the things we're dealing with, he's 7 games into his career.
Yep.
I'm more encouraged about him every time I see him play.
Yeah, today wasn't a day that I was more encouraged, but I agree with you.
And so thanks for the phone call.
That throw he made for the touchdown, escaping, throwing on the run,
There's nobody covering the guy.
I know that part, but he got the ball there. I mean, he got away and got the ball there. So,
okay.
I've been telling everybody, all right, we got our quarterback. We need everything else.
We'll see.
Just throw it all out. We got.
Oh, sorry about that. My bad on that, Daniel. But I think, I appreciate the call. Here's one that we haven't talked about on him running around a lot today, and the offensive line obviously didn't protect very well. We didn't really get a chance to see it because we're looking at the TV. Maybe we need to watch the film.
Break it down.
Was it not a lot of guys open downfield as he's running and running and running? Is there a possibility that there wasn't anybody open?
Is there a possibility that he's not seeing guys?
Okay.
Yeah. There's nothing that I've seen from Drake May that has told me that my feelings coming into the draft have been wrong. Everything that I've seen is leading me to believe that I think that they got the right guy. But I have to look at it objectively and talk. I don't care about him running around behind the line of scrimmage and throwing a ball to a guy who wasn't covered for 40. I can't rely on that. That's not something I can take to next week.
It's not sustainable.
It's not something I can build my offense around. It's great to have Josh Allen make those plays. It's great to have Patrick Mahomes make those plays. And it was great to see Drake May make a play like that today. But I need all the other plays for the other 59 minutes of the game in order to be any good. And today I didn't get any of those. And that play doesn't really do anything for me. it was a coverage bust. Let's call it what it was. You know, nobody
The touchdown you're talking about.
Nobody covered the guy. Right. He was all alone. I would rather see Drake May, you know, be able to operate conventionally like he did last week. Last week got me way more excited than any of the other games because, especially the first half, Mike, it was just precision-like with some of those throws, how accurate he was, how quickly he was deciphering the rush. And that was a good front that he saw last week with the Rams. And in that first half, I thought he made them look awfully ordinary. I thought he made some tight window throws. I just thought today was a little less than that. That's all. Doesn't like dampen my enthusiasm for him moving forward. I just thought today he wasn't very good.
And there's 5 games left in the season, and you know, one this week coming up back at home, and a chance to, you know, maybe have a defense that you can have some success against, but also just having a bye week at this point, like kind of like that for Drake to hit the reset button before the last 4 games, and those are going to be 4 very tough games against 3 teams that are all in the playoff mix. I don't know where Buffalo's going to be at, but I assume that both Arizona
need the win.
and the Chargers are going to be fighting
Buffalo's
tooth and nail
going to need the win as well
for playoff seeding. So it's going to be a good opportunity for him. I totally agree. I share everybody's positivity about him, but at a certain point, we're going to see this kid play 5 more games before next September. So I just love to see a little bit more of what Paul's talking about. Can he stack a couple games where he was good from the pocket? And sure, of course, those are great as bonuses. But
do you remember training camp, Mike, when we were watching every mindless day of training camp practices? How much drifting?
Yeah, sure.
Drifting. That's what I saw a lot of today.
Yeah.
And I understand the call is right. There's no help right now. I get it, but some of the pressure that he faces is sort of self-inflicted. He runs into sacks at times.
We've seen a couple of those on the highlights here as you've been talking, and
and again, none of this has dampened any of my enthusiasm for Drake May in the future. But I'm just analyzing, like I like to steal a phrase from one of my shows when Mike and Tony talk. Yeah, that's all well and good that we look at the big picture, but we have a show to do today. Then we have another one to do tomorrow. Like, you have to say what happened today.
Yeah.
And today just wasn't good offensively.
Today was Step Back Sunday as the Patriots lose 34-15 down to Miami. Let's go down to Miami and listen to the head coach, Gerard Mayo, after the loss to the Dolphins.
Look, my message to the team was, look, this is the NFL. It just wasn't good enough. First quarter, 0 points across the board, and then give up 24 points in the second quarter definitely is a hard pill to swallow. And then, look, we saw some fight at the end, which is encouraging. But at the same time, this game, you got every single play counts. I thought we gave up too many big plays defensively, did a better job in the run game, gave up too many big plays, tackling, scheme, whatever you want to call it, just overall execution defensively just wasn't good enough. On offense, they did some good things, but anytime you lose a turnover battle, it's always going to be a tough game. And then special teams, we just got to continue to improve on that. Sorry, last thing for me. Like, the last thing I told the guys, it's all about us. And this is before the game. I said it's about us. It's not about anybody else. It's about us and to make a commitment to one another. And that's what the game really came down to. It's us going out there, kicking ourselves in the butt or stomping our toe against the wall because of penalties. We don't have a team. I don't think any team wants to go backwards in any cause, but we did that today. So.
Did you get a sense this week in practice that something was off, or did you not have a good week?
No, I didn't. Not at all. Not at all. I thought the guys were locked in. We just didn't walk away with a win.
So what do you blame on the coverage breakdowns? We're not used to seeing that from this team historically. So what's the cause of those?
Historically, or even this season, just a lack of communication. The
6 pre-snap penalties in the first half.
5
on offense, 1 on defense. How much of that is a reflection just on the coaching?
Yeah, look, it starts with me. And we've had these hiccups of games where the penalties really affected us, and it did today.
Do you think that first drive, the first sustained drive in the first quarter, the 2 penalties brought it back, and then you kind of went conservative in the middle and then went for the field goal? Did you feel like things stalled out there? How much did you
in the first quarter?
Yeah,
to me, in the first quarter, you're still trying to just get a vibe for the game, how they're going to play us, and how we're going to play them, and how they're going to match our stuff. So,
how concerned are you that this was a big spot for you guys, coming off a loss, division games, and you guys kind of came out flat today?
Yeah, we came out flat, and Look, it's a long season, and it is a long season, and the guys, they recognize that. When you get the schedule early on, you got to see where the bye week is. And saying that, look, no excuses from me, and hopefully no excuses from the players. We just have to be better.
Defensively, where do you go from here?
For me, nowhere but up. A lot of that stuff going back to the big plays, it starts there. The defensive line and the run game, I don't think that was a problem this game. It was just the big plays.
Hey, Gerard, how do you coach a guy, and you've been there, done that before, as a player, how do you coach a guy who keeps making the same mistakes over and over and over again? How do you get to that guy?
That's why we're coaches. We got to find a solution. Whether that's you got to figure out what lever to pull to get a guy going. And sometimes, look, it could look good during the week, and then you get into the game, and it's a surprise.
Gerard, they went up tempo just like they did in the first matchup. Was that, do you believe, them trying to stress your communication, which you said led to the breakdowns?
I wouldn't say so much. Tempo is always difficult. Those guys come out with one-word plays, and we just have to. I felt like we were on the same page out in the field, if that's what you're talking about.
It seemed like both tackles were struggling a bit today, but specifically you decided to pull Demontre Jacobs in the fourth and put in City. So just what went into that decision there?
Yeah, he was having a tough game. Whether it's penalties or blocking the edge, he was having a tough game, and we got to protect the quarterback. As an offensive lineman, that's what we do. We protect quarterbacks, and we got to open up holes for the backs.
Was there a reason you chose to take out Demontre and possibly not Darian? Was there a reason for one over the other?
No, not at all.
How much, if at all, did it help if Christian Gonzalez coming to how things happened there?
We saw the injury report. He was dealing with something. He worked out before the game, and we thought he was ready to go.
Gerard, on Monday you said we have enough talent in that room to win football games. How do you rectify that with falling behind 30-0?
Yeah, it starts with me. I think it starts with me and, getting these guys ready to go.
There were some assignment breakdowns, it seemed like, in the red zone.
Absolutely.
Just what did you see on those plays to agent?
It wasn't a secret. They used motion and shifts and things like that to confuse to stress the communication, and we just weren't on the same page.
Early in the game, first drive, 4th and 1 for your own 39. Any thoughts of going for it there?
The thought was there. It was best for the team.
George, you say it starts with you, but when do the players have to start looking at themselves? You can only do so much. When is it on the players?
Look, it's always look. Once those guys cross the white lines, there's nothing I can do for them. There's nothing any coach can do for them once they cross the white line. It's my job to continue to prepare not only them but our coaches to go out here and play better football. Thanks.
There's your head coach, Gerard Mayo, after the Patriots lose to Miami today, 34-15. The Patriots Postgame show is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Seems like a little frustrated Gerard Mayo, especially down the stretch there a little bit in his press conference. But I did think it was interesting. I don't know who the questioner was at the end, who Gerard certainly being accountable. It starts with him as far as the penalty is concerned. I did hear Mike Reese ask, is it a reflection on coaching with the penalties? He said, absolutely, and that starts with me. But I did hear the last questioner said, at what point in time do we start to talk about the players? Yeah. And I thought that was a fair question as well.
I think so. It's just got to be frustrating as a coach. I'm sure it's, a little frustrating as we break down these games because it's the same things over and over again. And as a coach, that's got to be infuriating because I'm sure they're out there every week trying to coach this stuff out of them. Certainly the penalties and, just to go back to the very first one and the very first third down of the game, it's just, that's got to be maddening for them to spend all this time stressing how important it is to stay out of negative plays and to stop the self-inflicted wounds. And then, the first big play of the whole game, you go out there and boom, you got a 5-yard penalty, you got to tack onto it. So he's frustrated. You can tell the frustration, and he's right though. The players do have to bear some of this responsibility because
yes, sir.
At a certain time, it's a pre-snap penalty. It's like, I'm sorry, it's not really. You can talk about the coach preparing the team and everybody being ready to play and on edge and locked in, but at the same time, it's football. Know the snap count and go off when the right call.
It's not like they're at Mile High either, by the way.
Yeah,
or Kansas City. No disrespect to the fans at Hard Rock
Well,
Stadium.
plus it's been happening at home just as
too.
much. So it's not really.
Yeah.
We saw it happen. Believe me, Mike could tell you more times than we could count in training camp.
Yep.
So it's definitely been an issue. But what really stood out to me is, Gerard saying, we came out flat today. Like, well, that's on the coaches.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's something that, why? Why are you coming out flat? It's a division game on the road in a place that you haven't had much success. You have a rookie quarterback. You want to go down there and put your best foot forward, and you come out flat?
Could I question that for a second, Paul? Patriots go 3-and-out, or maybe 3-and-out on their first series. They kicked the ball to Miami.
3 of
Miami
their first 4 series they went
does
3
not
and
go
out.
3 and out, but the Patriots defense got them off the field, and then they responded with their best and really only drive of the first half.
Yeah.
That didn't look like a team that was flat to me. That they performed better on those 2 series than they did through the rest of the game.
Yeah, I thought
when
that-
it was
I
still
mean-
a nothing game.
But to Gerard's point, I believe you counted 4 penalties on that drive.
Yep.
You know, again, and this is my point about why I'm not overly excited when these things happen. It's unsustainable offense.
Right.
When you just have your quarterback running around crazy and finding a way to move the chains. It's great to have it, and I'm glad that we have it. I'm excited about having one of those Mahomes, Josh Allen types. I'm really, Justin Herbert.
Can't make a living doing it is what
but
you're saying.
you can't just do that. And that drive showed you why you can't rely on that, because sooner or later, you're not going to be able to move the chains. They're going to get a hand on one of those running around passes, and it's going to fall incomplete, or worse. You're going to run around and hold the ball wildly with one hand, and Zach Sealer is going to knock it out of that hand and cause a fumble. Like, it's just not sustainable offense. I do think they were flat today, but I don't just say, well, you were flat. Like, well, okay. That's the excuse then. We came out flat today. No, why were you flat?
Right.
That's a deeper question.
A big thank you to our partner, Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider and laptop of the NFL and the New England Patriots. It provides players and coaches with the tools to succeed both on and off the field. Check out the new Surface Pro, designed to keep up with you as the most flexible, most powerful 2-in-1 laptop and tablet out there at surface.com. Back to the phones at 855-PATS-500. And let's go to Phil in Coventry, Rhode Island. Phil, you're next on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings. Hi, Phil.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hey, Phil.
I just want to channel my inner Slim Pickens and say, what in the wide, wide world of sports was that? I don't get it. And, just at the very beginning with those flags, it's like they should be running up and down that hill until they're 150 pounds. I don't understand how it keeps happening and happening and happening. And by the way, thanks to your show, my wife also screams Hooper every time he catches a pass. Hooper!
Hooper drives the boat, Chief.
There we go.
Phil,
Good job, Phil.
Thank you very much for the phone call. I think I heard a little Vidarian
I
Low
heard-
in the
it sounded like his
background
wife
as
in the
well.
back. Vidarian Low.
I thought that was just me. I heard that.
no, sir.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Tell him I don't like Vidarian Low, too.
Phil, don't forget Vidarian Low.
Right. A caller on the call screen is wanting to ask, can we get Bill Belichick back? And we're not going to jump ugly here, but I'm not going to take the call. But can we stop it with that kind of talk?
Can we take the call?
Let's hear what he has. Let's
Okay,
see what he's
really?
got. Yeah,
Why
yeah.
not?
All right.
Why are we
Sean from
censoring opinions?
I'm not censoring it. Just like enough already. It was time. It was time for Bill to go. But Sean, go ahead from Quincy. You're next on the Patriots postgame show.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering, what do you think it would take to get Belichick back?
I don't think that scenario. There's a better chance.
0.0%.
Yeah, less than
And
0.0.
if I could,
Sean.
I'd like to give a shout out to Fiona.
Fiona Apple?
Apple?
The princess from
Yeah.
Shrek?
Oh,
Yeah.
good one.
Okay. You know
Criminal?
what?
No, there's
I'm
no
mad at
chance
myself.
of
I
him
shouldn't
coming
have taken
back.
that call anyway. That
Yeah,
was a-
but that's not how we do things.
Okay.
we let
Who's we?
people. We don't just take the opinions we agree with.
No. I just,
Like the Illuminati, I disagree with.
That's a silly
But they
comment.
deserve to be heard. Why not? Just because you and I disagree with it?
Okay.
I want to hear the
All
argument.
right.
I want to hear the argument.
I want to know who
just wanna
Fiona
what it
is.
was.
Now I feel scolded
Fiona.
by. I feel
No,
scolded
I mean
by
just
Paul.
like seriously, like why are we
it's a
telling
silly
people
comment.
It's not silly. It's
To bring Bill Belichick back isn't a silly comment.
No, but why does a guy who wishes Bill was still the coach, which is the premise of what he's saying?
I don't know that. I'm not sure about that.
I don't want Bill as the coach anymore, but that doesn't mean I'm right. I say these things all the time. Just because they're my opinions don't mean that they're the only ones.
Okay. David from New Jersey, you're next on the Patriots postgame show presented by DraftKings. Hi, David. Hello, David.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thanks for allowing me to speak on the show. Watch you guys a lot. Love the content you guys are putting out there. Now, O-line play horrible. Within that first half, correct me if I'm wrong, but there were 5 penalties between Lowe and Jacobs. And my thing is, why wasn't there any change until, I believe, the fourth quarter? Second thing is on defense, the secondary. We need more help. I don't know what's going on with Just Jones, or why in the hell was Marcus Jones on Waddle for the entire game getting exposed with no help.
Yeah.
That has to change. I'm honestly surprised.
It wasn't just him the whole game. It was all 3 of those cornerbacks
had a crack.
Had Waddle at times, and none of them
horrible.
None of them covered him well.
Right.
Horrible. So my thing is, why weren't there any immediate adjustments to that?
I just told you, all 3 of those guys had Waddle. That's an adjustment.
Right. And
none of them could cover him.
That's not the adjustment needed, though.
No. Yeah, well, but I tell you what, you know what the adjustment isn't? Stephon Gilmore wasn't available to bring him in to
Neither
cover
was
him.
Dion.
Right. And so it's Alex Austin who is just back after being injured for a while. And my guess is the coaching staff said he's not ready to go.
Yeah.
It's just like, to me,
they don't have options,
down
Dave.
to the coaching.
Yeah. Okay,
it comes
thanks.
down to the coaching.
No, it doesn't come down to the coaching. It comes down to the personnel.
Hunter.
Right. Thanks for the phone
call, It comes down
David.
to the personnel. I mean, first and foremost, I don't think the coaching has been great. And I've been pretty open about that. I know, like, it seems like we're under attack with some of this, like, bring Bill back. You guys won't say it. You guys won't say it. They made a mistake. You guys are afraid to say it. You guys got to just protect Mayo. No, we're not protecting Mayo. They had a boatload of pre-snap penalties today. There's no protecting the coaching staff for that.
And he took it on the chin himself, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Understandably so.
And I mean, to sit here and suggest there's no adjustments being made when there's 3 different guys trying to cover Jalen Waddle today, none of which, including Revis Gonzalez, none of them were successful doing so. What more adjustments are there going to be?
Right.
No, and that's the same response to the tackle question in the open with. It's you want to pull one of those guys, great. You're going to now City So, who was an interior
Who's
guy
a guard,
this year,
right.
or you're going to have to put a menu back out to tackle and then bring someone else in at guard and start rotating everybody around. So they just don't have the depth. They don't have the horses to start
That's
that
the
shuffle.
problem.
Think about that for a second.
Fall
Mike.
apart.
Think about that for a second. They chose to replace a tackle with a guard today. That's the state that they're in.
Because they don't have another tackle.
Yeah, unless you want to move and win you
again,
out, and then everything gets screwed
Don't
up.
blame that on coaching.
Right.
That's a personnel issue.
Yep.
They chose to go into a season with no tackles. That's not Gerard Mayo's fault. I'll blame Gerard Mayo for things that
The
when
pre-snap
we talk
penalties.
about, okay? But the fact that they don't have an answer at tackle is not his fault.
Spee in Fresno, California writes, woof, it hurts after this one. Does this game count as the one where the bottom fell out? Do you think players might start checking out? Lowe seems to have done so already. Look, Vidarian Lowe did not play well today. He's going to be the whipping boy by fans in a lot of ways. I don't think Vidarian Lowe is checked out. He's professional, if nothing else, but he tries hard. I just think they might be asking too much of him to play left tackle in the National Football League. That might not be his position. He might be the best they have, which certainly is an indictment on the position group, as Paul has already alluded to, but I don't think it's for lack of trying from Vidarian Lowe. I don't think he's checked out.
No, I mean, I think it'll be a challenge, though, trying to keep it all together over the last 5 games.
I just don't think
that is a challenge for sure.
I don't think
Mike.
checking out is really a big deal in the NFL. I think you'd get hurt. I think it's a very dangerous game to play if you're checked out. But everything Matt said is 1,000% correct. It's not Vidarian Lowe's fault that he's not an NFL caliber left tackle. I know that people spout the numbers at me. He's in trouble more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, I also think at this point in the year, it's tough when you don't get a good start too. Because if you get a good start, you keep the team engaged and focused and locked in. But you're 3-9 now. Game starts to get away from you. It's 21-0. I mean,
well, the question about if you want to start talking about business decisions, that might be coming. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. Before we wrap things up, let's go back down to Miami, and we'll hear from the quarterback, Drake May, after their 34-15 loss today to Miami.
How disappointing that the second possession where you were driving so much and just to have it stall the way it did.
Yeah, just penalties. I think penalties just hurt us. I think hurt us kind of all the whole first half. Just hurting ourselves. I feel like had a chance to move the ball on these guys, and they were pretty good up front, and they were a good defense that we faced. Just nothing that they did. I think just penalties set us back and kind of put us behind the 8 ball. And we just can't do that, in this league.
Does it feel like you guys are maybe like, instead of improving this time, you guys are kind of taking a step back? You know?
I wouldn't say that. I think these penalties are something that you can control. I don't think. I think when you see something improving, I think we're making plays and we got a chance to do some things. But I think penalties are something that it's not necessarily an easy fix, but it's more focus and listening to the calls and to the cadence and little things like that. So I don't think it's something where we're just getting beat and out talented. I think it's just something that we're hurting ourselves, and so we got a chance these last games to put some good film on tape and find ways to find some wins.
How do you feel about the cadence and the calls for you?
Credit to the stadium. I think they're louder than pretty loud at times, and I think just being on different cadences. We worked it all week, and just sometimes don't blame those guys up front. They got a tough job. They got to get off on the snap count and get back there and block some pretty good guys on the edge. So I don't blame them for getting off and trying to get a good set. I think sometimes those happen. I just think we had too many. I think holds. I think some of them just push it out on first down. When you're getting first and 20s and second and 16s, it's just hard. It's hard to pick up first downs and move the ball.
One of the misconnections with Demario, it looked like another miscommunication. What happened?
I just missed him. Yeah, we got a chance to put ourselves and go score and put some points on the board and keep us in the ball game. Really, some more just mad at myself. We caught him in a blitz from the boundary blitz that really was nobody covering. So just got a guy hit him. That's an easy throw and just missed it.
So much of this year, we've talked about learning experiences. Doing this for the first time on the turnovers. Like, what do you take on those that you learned from going forward on those two plays?
The fumble. Just find a way to protect the football and go down, or find a way to get it out. I think maybe could have spun out of it, and kind of reversed out of it, and maybe could have escaped it. But other than that, just can't try to swim move the guy with the football. It's just bad. Protect the football. We preached it all week, and I didn't do that out there. And the interception, just trying to check it down and happen to get tipped. So I'm not too worried about that.
Win touchdown to Hooper.
Just a broken play, and just trying to make a play and put some points on the board.
You guys are down the way you were, Drake. Are you more willing to take risks, that might result in turnovers because you guys do have to push to?
Yeah, I think it's hard. It's hard to balance, trying to make plays and keep drives alive. We're in third and long, or the last touchdown's 4th and 15. Just trying to make something happen. Give us a little light, and ended up happening. And, Gonzo put us back in the ball game, and then go down there and turn the ball back over. So it's tough. It's frustrating, and I know we got better football ahead of us, and this wasn't our best product today.
Two final questions. You've won a lot of games throughout your life. How are you handling the struggles right now?
Yeah, it's tough. Anytime you're losing, I think just like I've always said, I hate losing more than I really like to win. So losing sucks, and I think just what I told some of the guys inside. I just remember this feeling. I remember this feeling of really getting our butts whooped today, and I think it's only up from here, and we got a lot of bright future and bright players in there that are making some plays for the Patriots.
Do you think the game could have been different if you get a touchdown in that first? It's the second possession, but in that first sustained drive, do you ever think back to that when I think it's a whole different game if we score there?
I think so. Maybe. I think it's easy to say. It's a whole new ball game, and go and score 14-7, make it 14-7. That's a lot better than punting it away and making it 21-0. So, whatever. Thank you.
There's your quarterback, Drake May, after the Patriots lose 34-15. We're going to try to clear the calls as we wind things up here in the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings. Rodney in Delaware, you're first and next up on the Patriots Postgame Show. Hi, Rodney. Hello, Rodney. We're going to move on. No Rodney there, so we'll do this. Then we'll do this. Sean in Toronto, you're next on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings. Hi, Sean.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for what you do here. Seems like the media department might be the only unit in New England that's performing well. So thanks for taking my call. But coming into the season, really one of my biggest concerns was that, you get rid of Belichick, and now the defense really goes downhill. Jabril Peppers was in the locker room last year saying he gives us the game plan, we know what to do, and we go out there and perform, and and it comes to light. It's what happens. And now you got kind of a coaching staff that I don't know if they're giving them the answers anymore, and now you got a less than competent offense mixed with a poor defense, and I don't know where they go from here, but just curious to hear your thoughts on kind of how disappointing the defense has been this year.
Thanks for the phone call, Sean. And that's a legitimate point that I know that people are starting to talk a little bit about, and that's if you don't miss the drafting or other things that maybe people were critical of or Bill, do they miss the defensive game plans that they had?
I think they probably do.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a level of look. I mean, I think it'd be disrespectful to Bill Belichick to say that a defense that lost his input didn't miss a beat, and that isn't a part of what they're doing right now. I've said before that I think that there's a line between having a new defensive coordinator and being one of the bottom 3 defenses in pretty much everything, and not having anything you do well or that you can hang your hat on consistently.
Hard to hang your hat on anything.
I'll take an average defense. I'll take even some team that's in the mid-20s, or they're getting takeaways though, where this guy's really guys aren't really blossoming, players aren't blossoming, they're not getting takeaways. I guess you could say they get off the field on third down. Those statistics would tell you that. I think we know that there's some nuance to that. But, that's the hard part. They're just, even with Bill's bad defenses, there are always some things you could hang your hat on and say, yeah, but they're going to at least take the run away, or they're going to get a couple takeaways in this game. This defense doesn't do any of that stuff.
I think they've missed them. It was something that I was a little concerned about in the offseason, but I think the bigger thing is they're facing teams that are healthy for the most part. And I didn't expect it to bottom out. Mike will have the numbers that they're like bottom 3 in DVOA or something like that. I didn't expect it to be bottomed out like this, but I also knew that they weren't going to get the fortune that they had the last 2 years of facing one backup quarterback after another. They faced one this year. There's a big difference between facing those backups and facing the real thing. When Stafford's got Nakua and Kupp, that's a tall order. And last year, in a situation like that, you would have faced a backup, because it just the way it worked out.
Yeah.
I think they faced 8 backup quarterbacks last year.
Jay in Virginia, you'll be the last on the Patriots postgame show presented by DraftKings. Hi, Jay. Hello, Jay. And with that, we say goodbye to Jay. Well, let's look ahead here as we wrap things up. Patriots lose 34-15 today to Miami. They're home next week before a bye, where they have the Indianapolis Colts. I think coaching staffs always worry about a team looking ahead. This team needs a bye in a bad way. It's going to be December before they get that real break. They're certainly not in a position to ever look past anything. And dare I say, the Colts present a team with a quarterback where there's some question marks. They're physically tremendously talented, but not very prolific from an offense. As Paul was talking about, they've had trouble stopping the prolific quarterbacks. This might be a chance to get a win here next week in Foxborough.
Yeah, it might be. We'll see. They're at the bottom of the league. We're at the bottom of the league. It's going to be one of those games. How does it unfold? And
I don't know. Yeah. I think we're at a different bottom of the league than they are.
And they're in the playoff picture, aren't they?
Yeah, and this is another guy. He's not efficient at all. But I just watching the numbers go by again, 172 yards on 11 completions again. So he doesn't complete a lot of passes, but when he does, he likes Dos Equis. He finds a way to get the ball downfield, and I think that's been a huge factor for them. I think Josh Downs may have left that game.
Yeah, he did.
We'll check on some of the injury things, but this is another team that's better than you. I'm sorry to say it that way, but they have more talent.
34-15, New England loses in Miami today to fall to 3-9, right? Is that what this looks like now?
Yeah.
Oof, that's tough. And that'll do it for us here. For Chris Judge, for Josh Davis, Dave Sarnovitz, Anthony Marini, Nick Puopolo, Matt Lepine, and Matt Morrell. I'm Matt Smith for Paul Perillo and for Michael Dussault. The Patriots lose 34-15. Next week, it's the Indianapolis Colts at home. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.